Hey everybody, how are you doing on this chilly winter day here on the East Coast? Welcome back to Keep It Dirty. It's a podcast where my guests and I, the host, share our lives living functionally and sustainably and the why behind their experiences navigating through our ever-changing environment. I am your host and guest tonight, Leslie Dowling. Leslie Koval Dowling, I should say. Koval is my maiden name, and most of my documents I have Koval Dowling. I am a corporate speaker. I'm a Reiki practitioner, and I have had a lot of opportunities creating and organizing and having a vision for virtual seminars and in-person seminars. And speaking to corporate with really trying to find one's optimal health and performance in the workplace, which actually does have it has a direct effect on increasing revenue and productivity when we're in optimal health. And that is your mental, spiritual, and physical health. Because without all that, how are you going to be the mentor for people and to be a good, healthy role model? So tonight, yes, it is evening here. See that? It is nighttime and mi apartamente. And what I will be speaking into is control. How much do we actually have control over in our life? And it was really interesting because I had this share with my youngest son about that we might be in control in our present moment of time, but we really don't have this control over our life. And control hits home. You know, sometimes when we are in our formative years, the foundation is set when we're children as to how we're going to manifest and make changes for a healthier balance in relationships. And that trickles into family, relationship with loved ones and spouses, friends, and relationships we have in the workplace. And sometimes when people don't have control of, as a child, in a home environment, that things are out of control, they go the extreme opposite. And I lived a life in marriage with a lot of control with a loved one, and not at fault, but having that control took it to another level. And you can't control people. You know, you have to break that mold because anything to the extreme is not healthy, right? So as much as we are perfectly imperfect as human beings, that's the beauty of all the different emotions that are wrapped up as human beings. And when you can't express your emotions, when you suppress your emotions, what happens? You go into possibly a downward spiral of rage, anger, possibly abuse. And that's something that you have to hardwire yourself to learn to use the tools to be able to express yourself. Because in relationships on any level, on different platforms, you want to put your best self first and forward, and also to have the skills to be able to communicate and to communicate with family and friends, which will also create a more mentally stable environment, the workplace, at home, with your friends and family. So please, when you have an opportunity, check in with yourself. Check in with the relationships you have around you. I have walked the walk. I've been through a lot, and I've broken the mold for the next generation to have a voice, to be able to stand up for yourself, to be able to be heard, and to gain the respect that eventually will happen when you have to make those changes in life, right? So going forward, I am going to be, as I always have been, a huge advocate in mental health awareness, also just eating healthier, cleaner, to then be able to support yourself in a state of more of a balance, feeling normalized, feeling that you don't have those highs and lows when you are eating healthier. I've learned now that I'm in a new mold, in a new world of being separated and learning to cook and prep for myself, which I've always done, even with the family around, and will be an empty nester anyway. My son will be going off in June to college at Penn State main campus. So there's a lot of profound changes in my life. But unfortunately or fortunately, I had to make those changes to regain myself, my self-worth, my self-love, and really my sanity, to be completely honest. And that's something that I'll be speaking more into to empower others to take that bold step if needed to be in a healthier place and spot in life. because life is too short, and you get to a point where you keep trying and trying to make changes, healthier changes for a more stable environment. And sometimes people don't want that. And sometimes you have to go to an extreme of leaving a situation for people to really open their eyes and wake up. And it could be fortunate or unfortunate. But in my situation, it was the best thing that I did because I'm a happier person. I don't feel suppressed. I'm able to speak my voice, and I'm loved and accepted in my community, and embracing people that have that spiritual energy bond, wanting to live a healthy lifestyle, eating clean, and not being in an abusive situation. So with that, sometimes I have these epiphanies of, if I'm running or walking, I'm really into just getting out in really cold weather. It's like 17 degrees here in Pennsylvania, and I just layer up and I spend an hour just walking in the cold, taking those deep breaths in the woods and unplugging from this. And ironically, what am I doing? I'm podcasting, and I'm always like, detach from your devices when you can. I've taken many seminars, intense seminars with well-versed doctors and experts in the field with electromagnetic fields, and it does affect us on a cellular level. I am passionate, and I continue to speak on this platform to be mindful. All the devices which I don't have, like the phones, anything to track your heart rate, the jewelry, the rings that you could wear when you go to sleep. Just know that it does affect us on a cellular level. Do your research, do your diligence, and start looking into this. Also, just creating more of a balance with being on your laptop and giving your time for your eyes and for you to re-energize and rest and to get away from this. And our world is so compromised with just sitting our butts down and being complacent and being in one position all the time, having lower back issues. I don't, because I try to switch up my routine during the week. So something that I wanted to share with you is, and this goes back to that controlling pattern where some people can be very controlling, or other people could be less controlling and be mindful of that nobody should be in control of others, or that you can really control your destiny because you can't. And that's something you have to accept. And once you could let that and release that, the more that you'll feel like you're not under that stress, because we could be our own worst enemies. And somebody that I had on my show from London, Nimesh Radhi, will be on my show next week. He brought up and shared about the same thing. It really hit home with we could be in control of what's going on in our present moment. Right now, I'm in control of this podcast. I'm going to be downloading this and then getting this out to globally to the world. But after that, what do I really have control of? I mean, I could set these goals in a month. I want to do this. I want to create and build on my community because that's something that I'm passionate about. I know I'm really good at creating a community of like-minded individuals to start really empowering others for listening and getting involved in seminars for health and wellness and making changes and micro changes to your lifestyle so you can live a longer life and healthier. But the one thing regarding control is creating your narrative. So it's something that I was reflecting on, and it's just something that I put on my notes on my phone, and then I'm going to share it with you. And let's see how many people could really relate to this. It is as if the last several chapters of my life have been torn out of a book and ripped up into a million pieces. But this is the beauty of humanity. We can rewrite those passages and create our own narrative and attract whatever we want, wherever we want, however we want in this world called life, as we are all imperfect. And that is the true beauty of perfection. Rising above all of our hurdles will only make us stronger and focused as to what we really want out of life. That is the words and wisdom of me raising 3 sons, being married for 28 years and having to leave the situation of a relationship that unfortunately was not a healthy relationship, and also wishing the best for people that are going through things that either maybe they have bestowed on others, or for them to make healthier changes, getting help and therapy that you would need. So just remember, we are perfectly imperfect, and I have released and have really let go of the anger, the hurt, the pain. And that's why I can move on. And it's something that I have been thinking about for the last year as I so desperately wanted to make changes for many years in my life. And the changes were not healthy. It just seemed like I was going on a merry-go-round, trying desperately to instill with others in my dynamics of my family to start making healthier choices. And when other people don't want to do that, you can't make and be in control either to make changes for others when you know in your heart that it would be the healthiest thing in the world for somebody to make those changes, to see that you could live a very fulfilling lifestyle in a very healthy manner. So, we're all humanly imperfect, and that's what makes the world beautiful. So just remember that, when you rise above the hurdles, it will inevitably make you stronger. It sucks going through it, but you know what? You'll see that you'll gain more respect with your loved ones, with friends, with community, that you stood up and you rose above the uncompromised situations and unhealthy situations to make things better for you and eventually for the people around you. So with that, I just wanted to share with you some of the things I do in the winter and also during the week in between my podcasting and also starting to plant the seeds for spring, summer, as I will spend my summer down in Cape May building the community in the sustainable, really eco-friendly community of like-minded individuals with functional health. Some of the go-to snacks that I have really enjoyed is my guilty pleasure is the dark chocolate covered blueberries, and it's from Sunridge Farm. But what I like to do, I'm really a stickler about plastic, how when plastic heats at certain temperatures, it does release chemicals, which actually does offset our hormones. So just be careful of that, especially plastic bottles, drinking from that, which I really go into depth with. When you're going through, say, one of the drive-throughs for coffee or something that's hot, like hot chocolate, especially now in the cold winter months here on the East Coast, bring your metal, where is my metal bottle and container? And I bring my hydro flask or anything that's metal and let them pour your hot coffee or your cocoa in it so it doesn't release all of the toxins that plastic does release, which are endocrine disruptors. That's right. So it dysregulates your hormonal system. The other thing that I like to do here's some others. Same. This is Terra Farm Organic Very Berry Mix. And I get these at Kimberton, which is here in Wyomissing. They have other locations. They're a family-owned store, but they're very organic, conscious. Most of the things are organic, grass-fed. The other one is the Omega Trail Mix. So it has all these wonderful berries in here. What else? Pumpkin seeds. And I just put a handful of these in a little glass jar or wrap it up in my one of my wax papers. Pecans. Also, I love Brazil nuts, which is selenium, which is great brain food. And also before I make my organic coffee in the morning, I always do. And this, I like the Ancient Nutrition, which is organic super greens. It alkalizes and detoxes your system. This is like a green powder. I just pour it in milk, in water, not in milk. Apple cider vinegar, milk thistle, and spirulina. So it gives you that energy. It detoxes your system. And just be mindful as to where you're getting and where your products and the ingredients are sourced from, which is really critical because unfortunately Big Pharma is taking over a lot of these small mom and pop places that are making these wonderful ingredients, and they put a lot of junk in it once they're bought from some of these smaller mom and pop organizations. And in the water, after I do this spirulina, the powdered mix, I wait about 20 minutes. And then in my water that I use a water filter system, because that's a whole nother story about fluoride in your water and what fluoride does to you and the whole history behind fluoride and how they had to get rid of the chemicals that they made fluoride for kids and putting it in our water system, which is opening another can of worms, which I won't go through today. But check out the history about fluoride. Pretty eye-opening. And this is Trace Minerals TM Sport. This is electrolyte concentrate. So it helps boost your stamina, energy, and endurance. And even in the winter months, everybody thinks in the summer you get dehydrated. You get dehydrated in the winter too. When you're out there really exerting a lot of energy, the cold air, it revs up your system. You burn a lot of calories. You also can become dehydrated. This is an excellent form of rehydrating yourself if you don't have the organic coconut water, which is the best form of replenishing your electrolytes. And then just to give it a little taste, I put in this Ultima, it's a replenisher. And this one has 6 essential electrolytes. It does have like passion fruit, but this is organic in its powder. I just put maybe a quarter of a teaspoon in my water, and then I mix it all up. And then I have my water when I go to the gym or if I'm walking in this really cold air. And also I love cream of buckwheat. I love this. This is Pocono Heart of Buckwheat, and you can make a hot cereal. And it's gluten free because I'm gluten intolerant. I just get really puffy eyes, inflammation, puffiness. So I tend to stay away from gluten. But this is just a great way of balancing your levels when it comes to not having the highs and lows of spikes of your sugar with eating, waiting to eat for several hours where you can just rest and digest, but it really helps you metabolize and just keep your whole system at bay. But I like to put a little bit of sunflower seed butter in that, which is excellent source of protein. And again, you don't have those spikes where you feel like you have this bolt of energy and then you crash. So this is Nature's Promise. You could probably find this in many of your grocery store, and it's organic, and that's the sunflower seed butter. So those are just some of the shares that I thought I would pass by you guys. Again, it's the winter months. Give yourself a hall pass to hibernate a little too, but get out there if you can, get a little exercise. You have a dog, walk your dog, get out there and do some weights. If you can't join the gym, it's not that expensive to go like a TJ Maxx or Walmart or Dick's and get some weights to do free weights. Also, the bands are great to do, like bands for your legs, for your arms, to create strength. Because as you get older, you lose a lot of muscle mass. And that's really critical for us, for our bodies to keep going, keeping mobile. Because you see, as people get older and the elderly, they stumble, they fall, they're compromised because they're not getting out and walking and continuing that process as you get older. And remember, really, age is a number. I know in the European countries, when I would go travel, even as a little girl with family to visit friends and family and with my kids, you see 80 and 90-year-olds biking in the Netherlands. Like everybody gets on a bike and they move their bodies, they walk places. We here in the US are so darn compromised. And you see, obesity is on the rise. And it has to do with also all of the processed foods and a lot of the packaged ingredients, processed ingredients that are still here on the shelves, that in the European countries, they have taken over 2,000 or more items off the shelves. And it's really interesting that now we're having this epiphany. Red dye, look, it shows that there is a direct correlation with autism and other issues with brain dysfunction. Yeah, that's right. All these different dyes and chemicals that we were raised in with, all of the junk cereals that was just like the best thing ever when I was a kid, is showing that it is just really detrimental to our body. Our bodies cannot metabolize, cannot digest these high sugar fructose corn syrup, CRAP, that really we should just have banned off of all shelves for kids. So even though you want to be the hero to your children, start reading the labels. Don't give your kids the dyes and the chemicals that are in all of these really popular mass-produced cereals that we see on the shelves. And also there are dyes and chemicals in the bubble baths that we use as adults and what we use for our children. So there are more natural, eco-friendly products that you can bring home for your kids, and they will thank you someday when they're older, when they're not compromised. And also, they will thank you someday creating healthier habits too, prepping your food, not eating the processed foods, and taking the time out to be with family, taking some time out to be with your loved one, friends, and kids, to take the time to have at least one meal a week where you sit, you get rid of all of our cellular phones and look somebody in the eye, give them a smile, give them a hug, have conversation, communicate like we did when I was a kid 100 years ago. So with that, sending love. You know who I'm talking to, as always. And just remember to always ground with Mother Earth. Try to keep it dirty. And I would love for all my viewers and listeners to subscribe, support my YouTube channel, my Spotify channel. And if you have any questions, my website also is eastwestfunctionaltraining.com. You could reach out to me. You could reach out on my IG if you want to hear anything or for me to get any interesting guests, as I will be having more guests and me with my shares of living the life and walking the journey of clean lifestyle for the last 25 years. Take care, and I'll see you next time on Keep It Dirty.